In this presentation, I want to talk about the environmental path variable. In order to practice that, let's download an executable from the internet, in this case MD5Sum. It's a simple executable, doesn't need to be installed. So we can play with this one executable file. So if I copy this executable file into a directory, in our case just a tools directory, and you start the terminal, the command line environment in your Windows machine, and you type in MD5Sum, it says it's not there, it doesn't recognize that executable. So why is that? If you display the path environmental variable, which is supposed to find the executables in particular path, and the paths are separated by semicolon. So the operating system goes through all the path that is listed in this list and see if that executable exists. But MD5Sum is not in any of these paths leading to executables because it is on my T drive computer science tools directory. Now that is not in this list, so it doesn't see it. So I can reset the path environmental variable and add the path to the end of the list. Now if I display the environmental variable, now I have the path that contains my executable MD5Sum.exe. So at this point I can be in any folder, in any directory, and I can run MD5Sum. MD5Sum just calculates a hash value of any file that I send to it. Now the problem is if I close down the terminal and I reopen the terminal and I try to type in MD5Sum, again it says it doesn't recognize the executable. If I look at the path environmental variable, it forgot the T computer science tools folder. So setting the path environmental variable was a temporary solution. So if we go to this computer properties, the advanced system settings, and we look at the environmental variables, here we can actually select the path environmental variable system variables and edit the values. We need to type in the semicolon and then the path to the executable. So at this point, if I just look at the path environmental variable, it does not see the new path added to it yet. So I needed to close down the terminal, reopen the terminal, and when I display the environmental variable at this point, it will show the T computer science tools folder as part of the path environmental variable settings. So here it is. So at this point, I can be in any folder, in any directory on this operating system, and I can just type in MD5Sum and the utility will work. Now I would recommend that since T drive letter might or might not be on this drive, so you do not want to point your environmental variable to temporary location. But every time when you have an executable that you might need, some simple executable like this. So right now I just removed the path environmental variable T computer science / tools reference. So if you need to have access to an executable from any directory, As you can see, it doesn't see it anymore because I removed the T drive letter reference. So if we need to have access to this executable, we would need to copy that executable to a folder that already exists in the path environmental variable. In this case, in all Windows operating systems, C/Windows will always be in the path environmental variable. So just by copying the executable to the correct folder, now I'm able to run that executable from any folder. Now if I remove this executable, I'm just going to cut it out of here, and I go back to my computer science tools folder and paste it in here. So md5sum.exe does not exist anywhere else on the system but in the T/computer science/tools folder. So if I'm on a T drive, it doesn't see md5sum. So what I need to do is I need to be in a particular folder, and in that folder the operating system will always look at the current working directory to see if the executable is there. If it's not, then it looks at the path environmental variable, goes through in sequential order, and sees if it can locate the executable. So sometimes when you program, just because you type in your executable name, even though you know that you wrote that program, and if the command line says it doesn't exist, you might be in the wrong path. So you need to make sure that you understand the path environmental variable, and how Microsoft locates executables in order to run your code on command line. I hope you enjoyed this short little presentation. If you have any question, let me know, and we can practice more on locating executables. See you next time.